acute care, Western medicine does fantastically, but I fear that because we are so good at acute care, Western medicine has this inflated ego. And Western medicine believes itself to be the end all and the be all. And I really am saddened by the fact that Western medicine doesn't have a more open mind toward other ways of thinking about things, preventive, holistic, doctor of cause type of ways of thinking about all of this, which we know are probably going to be much better. And I think you're absolutely right. The people that see doctors long-term don't tend to do as well. And again, this is not to criticize any physicians that are listening to this, just to say that as we've all been taught in medical school, we haven't been taught how to get to the root cause of things. And I don't think that, I remember the physicians that I worked with as a cardiology PA were very well-intentioned, good people. They were very intelligent. They just weren't taught, to think this way. And they saved lives. They saved lives doing stents, and they saved lives opening arteries and veins and revascularizing. But they didn't have the tools because they were limited by the paradigm that they were taught in. So I think that it's an interesting thing. And I was looking for this article. I can't find it. Maybe I'll put it in the show notes. I saw this article one time. I think it was in Israel. There was a study of an improvement in overall mortality when the hospitals closed and the hospital workers went on strike. Have you heard about this? It's a really famous article that came out a while ago. Like, the hospital workers went on strike and there was a decrease in all-cause mortality. And it was, whether or not that was because there were less deaths being recorded, I don't think so. I think it was because when people were having less of this care, they almost did a little bit better. And it argues to the very real possibility that we cannot ignore, that sometimes in Western medicine, perhaps often in Western medicine, at least with chronic care and not acute care, we do harm people, perhaps some more than we help them. So a couple more.
I remember, real quick, Paul, when I was a medical resident, actually, we talked about going on strike. And we talked about, because this is in the late 90s, and was all about, hey, we're all underpaid and stuff like that. So, we're all going to go on strike. And we're talking with unions and stuff like that. And actually one of our mentors actually said that, be careful if you go on strike, because then the public's going to find out that they don't actually need us. And I agree with you. I'm not denigrating the people in acute care as far as angioplasty, stents in the midst of a heart attack, or again, someone's COVID, pneumonia. Kudos to all of our colleagues that are there doing that stuff. But when it comes to prevention, the medical doctors have nothing. Aspirin is not prevention. Statin drugs are not prevention. Blood pressure drugs are not prevention. Mammograms, colonoscopies, that's not prevention at all. And it's just all that they've been taught, like you said. But I think that we can, I don't want to, again, throw our colleagues, under the tires. But if we say that modern medicine is killing millions of people, I can believe it to be true, because again, we're missing all those opportunities to educate all those people about real health and wellness. And when you give someone Lipitor, you're killing them, because you're not telling them the actual way to health and wellness. Now, the medical doctors would say, well, listen, Lipitor decreases heart attack, strokes, and dying. Well, it does so from 5% down to 4% in some scenarios. Now, so that means you're leaving 4% of people to die because you didn't tell them the truth. And I think it's time again to really call on all of our traditionally trained medical doctor, brothers and sisters here, and say it's time to wake up and really become a doctor of cause, to really start making a difference and really unplug from the pharmaceutical system and spend more time educating people on health and wellness, as opposed to that quick model of every 10 minutes you see people, here's the pharmaceuticals. And I think, listen, it is financially driven. Let me tell you one more story. When I started cardiology practice in 2002, the cardiologist who ran the group sat me down and he said, listen, this is how we make money here. We order nuclear stress tests on everybody. That's how you're going to drive a fancy car, live in a nice house, buy nice clothing, yada, yada, yada. We order nuclear stress tests on everybody, because when we do so, every time somebody does a nuclear stress test, we make $2,000 into our practice. So again, I think that, like you said, the doctors in many cases start off with a very altruistic belief system, but I mean, and it's been proven in the literature that you can buy a doctor's opinion from a pharmaceutical company. You can buy their opinion by giving them a pen. By giving them a pen can change their opinions as far as prescribing, tests, pharmaceuticals, whatever it may be. So doctors can be bought. It's just the way it is.